one of my favorite win total unders this year is on the team that we're talking about right now, the Miami Dolphins. I think it's 7.5 is way too high because of what we've seen from Tua the last couple seasons. Like, he can't make it through an entire season fully healthy. And if he's not healthy and on the floor, on the field, then they're not winning too many games. He hasn't played more than 13 games in 4 of his 5 seasons in the league. And as long as he's there and healthy, like, yeah, maybe they can win 8 games, but I don't think that happens. And then you also have so much just going on right now in Miami that's distractions with Tyreek Hill. He seems unhappy there. He's talking to the media, telling the media what the coaching staff should be doing in terms of personnel and how to use different players in specific scenarios, most notably saying that Devon Achane is not a third down power back. He shouldn't be used in those situations. So it just seems like there's so much turmoil and so much lack of continuity or chemistry already this offseason that 7.5 wins, I'm going to take the under on that one. I do not believe in the Miami Dolphins this year.
I like that a lot. Kate, I'd go a step further and say that look at the prices for Miami to maybe have the number 1 overall pick for next season. I think they have like blow-up potential. I think they have blow-up potential, right? Like, I think Mike McDaniel could be the first head coach fired. You talk about Tua's availability, and we know throughout his career he's dealt with injuries. And that locker room, it feels like if they start 0-4, 1-5, I mean, they got blow-up potential. Like, there could be a lot of things that go wrong really fast. So, on paper, you know, the offense is kind of the same as it's been. And a lot of people have liked the Dolphins the last couple of years because of all the speed that they have, the weapons that they have on offense with Achane, Hill, and Waddle. I mean, you still got those guys. They bring Darren Waller over out of retirement. We'll see how that goes. But for me, it's the line of scrimmage with Miami. Like, they still have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. They really didn't do anything to upgrade their defensive line all that much either. They drafted Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, but Jalen Phillips is coming back from injury. Zach Seiler, they just signed to a long-term deal. They get Minkah Fitzpatrick in the trade with Jalen Ramsey from Pittsburgh to help their secondary, but I don't like this Miami team. Mike McDaniel has shown the inability to beat any team that's better than his, right? It's kind of like the James Franklin a little bit in the NFL. Like, if he's a favorite, Kate, at home, he's going to win that game, and they're probably going to cover. But you ask him to beat any team that's better than his, and he really doesn't do that at all. So I think Miami's really going to struggle. I like your play of the win total under. And like any of these teams that have like a win total of like 7.5, 8.5, that have a chance to be like really, really bad, I kind of think Miami's one of those teams that I'm looking at. So whatever that price is for them to have the number 1 overall pick, it's going to be a good one, and I think it's probably worth a bet.
It is worth a bet, PJ. 25-1 for the fewest wins over at BetMGM. And you're speaking my language here. I've been saying this for the past couple of months that I think Mike McDaniel is the first coach fired. He's been tagged as this like offensive mastermind the last couple of years, and he is a good offensive play caller. He's creative, but I don't think he has lived up to the hype that a lot of people, or the pedestal that a lot of people have put him on. And part of the reason I listened to some of the Dolphins beat reporters a couple of weeks ago. And I mean, part of the reason that Jalen Ramsey wanted out of Miami and was so disgruntled there was like, he didn't get along all that well with Mike McDaniel. And like, so the players, some of them like him, some of them are totally just think he's kind of phony. And I think if you have that in your locker room right now, you're not going to be a successful team. So 25-1 to have the fewest wins. I love that. I think they missed the playoffs. Do I want to lay minus 200? Nah, I would rather just take a shot on 25-1, or if you could bet first coach fired. Also, their secondary, yeah, you have Minkah Fitzpatrick, but the secondary is so banged up that you're bringing in it almost feels like random players just to fill those roles. So a lot already going wrong for Miami. And Mike McDaniel, I mean, PJ, this is weird. This is really weird. Mike McDaniel yesterday, in response to a reporter at media availability that asked what makes today great, Mike McDaniel responds, "We're another day closer to dying." So, like, it feels like things probably aren't going that great in Miami right now.
Exactly. You know, Kate, when you're like a weird dude, like Mike McDaniel is, when you're winning games, people can look past it, right? Like Greg Popovich was not a good interviewer, was kind of weird. Bill Belichick, not a great interviewer, kind of weird. But obviously, they're two of the greats in their respective sports. They win games, so nobody cares because their team wins. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. At the beginning, when Mike McDaniel was the head coach of the Dolphins, and he was this quirky, nerdy guy who was an NFL head coach, and he had these great plays, and Miami was putting up a ton of points, everybody loved him. But now that he's been there for a little bit and, the Dolphins have disappointed year after year and they really haven't gotten better. They haven't beaten any of these top teams like we've discussed. Now all that kind of wears off and people are like, okay, like this shtick that he has isn't working for him anymore. It's not working for the Dolphins. He's not a leader of men, Kate. Like that at the end of the day, what it comes down to. I think he's a good coordinator. I think if he gets fired by Miami and a team picks him up as an offensive coordinator, I think that's a great hire. But in terms of controlling a locker room, being in control of everything, leading your team every Sunday, having the guys respect you, buy into what you're selling, I don't think he's good at that at all. And I've never bought it. And now that we've seen it kind of develop over years there in Miami, and now he's certainly on the hot seat this year, I think it's kind of starting to rear its head. So never been a McDaniel guy. I think he's great as a coordinator. He's great as a play caller. But as an NFL head coach, I think Miami should have moved on from him last year. And now that he's started the year with the Dolphins, I'm very much looking forward to fading them early on in the season. And like we've talked about, win total under, fewest wins 25-1, both think are good bets.